All of this. Well, here now to discuss this is Ruthie Blum. She's a columnist and a senior contributing editor at the Jewish News Syndicate. She's also the former advisor at the office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and she joins us live from Tel Aviv. Ruthie, welcome to Washington Watch. It's an honor to have you.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Jody.
So what are the details of this ceasefire proposal as far as you understand it at this point?
Well, as far as I understand it, the details are that Hamas will agree to release 10 living hostages, 18 dead bodies over the course of a couple of weeks or whatever it is, but in two tranches. I hate to use that word when you're talking about human beings. It's really horrifying. But in exchange for a 60-day ceasefire, and after which time there'll be negotiations about a more permanent deal, but also the release of something like 250 or 150, I can't remember the exact number, of Palestinian terrorists serving life in Israeli jails, and 1,000 Palestinian terrorists who have been apprehended since the October 7th massacre. Now, this deal, I was hoping that Israel wouldn't agree to it. I have to give you full disclosure there. I was very concerned because it's a terrible deal. However, Israel did accept it, yes, and President Trump acknowledged that as well. Hamas first said they're reviewing it, then they said they'll maybe accept it, then they said they'll reject it. It's not clear, as you pointed out. And one of the reasons they rejected it is that their condition for any hostage release is that Israel withdraw troops from Gaza completely, basically leaving Hamas in power. And that is something Israel cannot accept.
Yeah, of course they cannot accept that, and they never will accept that. And Hamas knows that Israel won't accept that, and they have already been taking such a pounding that will continue to take place if they reject this. So what are we to make of all these conflicting reports? It's kind of like she loves me not kind of a thing. What are we to make of all of this?
Well, I think part of the problem is that Israel has eliminated all of the Hamas leadership in Gaza, and then there are the Hamas leaders outside living in Qatar and other places. There are also other terrorist groups, and so it's not clear who's in charge and who's making the decisions. But there is one other clause in that agreement that I forgot to mention that's very critical and relevant to why Hamas is dithering. And that is that one of the demands that Hamas is making is that the food distribution, the aid, humanitarian aid distribution, be returned to the UN and other international bodies. Of course, the UN is in bed with Hamas, but never mind that for a moment. One of the key reasons Hamas is demanding that is that the new mechanism it's a joint US-Israel mechanism to separate the civilians of Gaza from the Hamas terrorists by taking charge of the aid distribution and doing it in such a way that the army is vetting who comes to get the aid packages, and checking each head of household and giving that person a box full of food and other items, and that's it for the week. Hamas doesn't like that because that is their last, other than the hostages, the food is their last stranglehold on the population in Gaza.
Wow. So in addition to that, I'm also hearing that the 60-day ceasefire itself is an issue. There's so much going on here, Ruthie, and it's hard to stay on top of it all. So what is the latest? We've only got about a minute or so left, but what's the latest on the Israeli ground operation in Gaza? What have they accomplished there?
Well, a lot. First of all, separating, again, the biggest issue is separating civilians from terrorists, which is hard to do, especially since so many of the civilians in Gaza also participated in the October 7th massacre, just so you should know. So it's really not clear. It's very difficult to do that. But to move the civilian population to separate areas, separate them in order for the IDF to destroy all the infrastructure, or as much as possible. There are still hundreds of miles of tunnels, for example, terror tunnels in Gaza. But what it's accomplished now, we haven't gone full force yet, okay? Because in dealing with the United States, we're holding off on the let's say the use of extreme power in order to give hostage negotiations a chance.
Ruthie Blum, thank you so much. Former advisor in the office of Benjamin Netanyahu and senior contributing editor at the Jewish News Syndicate. Thank you so much. We appreciate you keeping us up to speed.
Thank you so much for having me.